Before we get going, I want to let you know about the Central Indiana Sports Report's daily report, our Sports Center style scoreboard show every day at 1 o'clock, featuring high school, college, and professional sports news in Central Indiana. Please check it out. Warning, what you're about to hear is a bunch of passionate sports fans who might do a little too much yelling and interrupting. You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode number 238.3. The NBA playoffs are here, and we have the entire crew here to talk about the Pacers Bucks series starting Saturday. Joining me and our Pacers guy, Mike Rich, was Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader sports editor Michelle Garmon, our IU guy, Grant Shouse, and our 5 questions guy, Will Rutherford.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, NBA fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Maybe not even NBA fans. Some people are just Pacers fans and not really NBA fans who are listening to this. This is the Indiana Pacers Milwaukee Bucks first round preview. We're also going to make our predictions, and we are here with Will Rutherford, with Grant Shouse, and with, as Will says, the GOAT, Michelle Garmon, here to preview the Indiana Pacers and Milwaukee Bucks second year in a row that they've played each other in the first round. And I heard a reporter ask Pascal Siakam today, what's the biggest difference between this year and last year? And I couldn't believe that he asked the question, because Giannis did not play in last year's series. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to start this by saying Milwaukee Bucks in 6.
Pacers in 6. I think the big key is this first game will be big. I think if they win the first game, they'll win in 6. Damian Lillard won't be playing. Keep Giannis under 40. I think we win that game.
I agree with Mike completely. I think that Dame not being in this series to start at the very
Giannis
least
is.
You can hold Giannis to 40 and be just fine. I think that they will win game 1. I'm not sure it's a must win. I think give me Pacers in 5. I really think they take care of business, and I think they win at home when they come back home.
I agree, Pacers. I'd like to say 5, but it could go 6 and it could go 7. I like the fact that they do have home court advantage. I like the fact they were able to kind of rest some guys and still won. And people might not think much of that last win they had on Sunday with all of those, but I think that's huge for your team morale and momentum as you go into the playoffs, even if it's not those guys, because all of the Pacer stars that weren't playing were so invested and they didn't fake their emotions on the sideline and everything. And I think it pumped them up to see the guys play that hard to get the team 50, to the 50 wins. I like the Pacers. I just think they have more. And I don't care. Giannis can score 50 if the rest of the team scores 45. Pacers win.
Greg's really good at these predictions, and he's right on a lot of them. This is one I think you're wrong on. I'm going to go Pacers in 6, I think. It'll be interesting to see what they can do on the road. A team that we've seen it sometimes has struggled on the road a little bit this year. They played well at home, and of course having home court advantage if it does go to 7 games. I can see them really taking advantage of that, having home court advantage. And, like with Will saying no Damian Lillard in this series is definitely going to play a factor. I think Indiana has the advantage in the, with their guards. Their guards are better. I'm not sure how much that really can matter at the NBA level, where every guy is a superstar and every guy is good at that level. But I just think Indiana is more well-rounded and more polished than Milwaukee at this point.
Let me say this is the reason why the Pacers were so inconsistent in starting games. I don't think that's something you just kickstart in the postseason. They won 9 of their last 11 games, and was there a single one of those games where anybody went away thinking, man, they played a great game? I don't think there was a single one of those games. They were all bad opponents. They were a lot of those. They were down like 20 points to the Hornets and came back and won. And it just and that's not going to work in those. That's not going to work in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely with Michelle. I think that's games they lost last year. Beginning of the season, I was really concerned. I'm always concerned about Charlotte, Brooklyn. Those layups that they should hit, and they should be taking those wins. And this year, they come out and they win those. They win the games that they're supposed to win at the end of the
But those aren't
season.
the teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, but there's still, those are games they lost last year. The fact that they found ways to come back and win them, whether it's a bad team or a good team, being able now they know they can come back. My thing is this. This is why I think a big reason I think the Pacers too, because I don't care what level you play athletics, bulletin board material is something. And I will say this, that NBA crew from FanDuel who admitted they didn't watch the Pacers and know nothing about the Pacers, picking into the Bucks. If you don't think that sign of disrespect has not motivated the Indiana Pacers, like I said, you find motivation at every level, and I am sure they're motivated to go out and say, look at us, look at me now.
And I think at Denver was a fantastic win.
Yes, that was.
I agree with that. I think that the Pacers, I've said it the whole year, I think that they are hell to play for 7 game because of their ability to bring 5-6 off the bench and you get different matchups, and I don't know if you lose a ton when you bring these different matchups in. Yeah, Giannis is a concern, and I get that the Bucks won 3 of 4 of the Pacers in the season series this year. That was with Dame, though, too. That was also early when the Pacers weren't necessarily playing their best basketball, that some of those games happened. I just think that the Pacers are – it's on the facade that they're good. You don't just go and win, 70% of your games since 2025 started, and then all of a sudden you just shit the bed come playoff time. I just don't see that happening. I think that this is a team that's proven they can win. Tyrese is a superstar. He's not obviously Giannis in the national recognition. Tyrese is incredible. This is a good team. This is a really good team.
And Grant's right. Their overall backcourt is better.
Absolutely.
The key, and somebody pointed this out, and it probably is true, how easy the Pacers can win will depend not on their backcourt. It's going to depend on Miles Turner. Mm-hmm. Can Miles Turner win that matchup with Lopez? If good Miles, if the Miles Turner that we've seen star in some games, if he can bring that into this series, yes, I don't think the Pacers have a lot of trouble because with even if Giannis scores a lot of points, if they can keep anybody else from going off, I think they're going to be fine. But I do think Miles Turner is going to have to step up, and he's going to have to play well.
And playoff basketball is all about unsung, the unsung heroes. And last year you saw that where Andrew Nembhard made big plays in that series against Milwaukee. And I think the Pacers are a fun team to watch because they have those guys like Andrew Nembhard that aren't necessarily superstars in the league, but they're great. They're great stars for their team. Would you consider them a role player, you think?
Yeah.
Him and Neesmith, I love watching them play. And I think that Indiana has the advantage because they have those two guys in Nembhard and Neesmith, and I'm not sure Milwaukee has a guy or has two guys like that.
And even Obi Toppin, because when Obi Toppin is on, he can go out and be a difference maker. Problem is, I'm not sure he's disciplined enough that I want trust him to be the guy every night. But if he has one of his games,
yeah, for sure. I think that you're going to see, and Mike, I'd like to know what you think about this, but I think that Kuzma is going to be really disappointed that he has to see Nimhel guard him for however long this series goes.
Yes.
And honestly, I think that you talk about unsung heroes. I thought the way that Aaron Nesmith defended Jalen Brunson in games 5 through 7 last year in that Knicks series in the semifinals, I think that you see that kind of somebody's going to step up. Somebody's going to step up and play great. And that's what I love about. I just love watching this Pacers team. And one thing that I will say, and people have various opinions on him. Ben Mathurin can get buckets. If you're in a scoring drought and you just need somebody to go get me some points. If we're struggling,
especially if he comes in off the bench, I mean, then he becomes a matchup problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Mathurin's a scoring threat. But Mike, I'd like to know, like I said, just how you feel about that Nembhard matchup.
Oh, I think since Nembhard's been back, and I think that's a very tough matchup for Kuzma. I think Nembhard's gonna. I think that's where we're gonna. I think that's where the Pacers are going to come out. I think we're going to see a different defense. I think Nesmith is going to step up against Giannis. I think Siakam will be on Giannis a little bit as well. I think Siakam will probably be on Giannis the most, but I love Nembhard's defensive game and the intensity he brings. And again, the Pacers are just so deep, and I think that's just another advantage. And like Michelle was saying earlier, I'm big on team chemistry, and I think this team just plays extremely well together. They care about each other. They're excited for each other. They got each other's back, and I think we're going to see a different defensive intensity with the Pacers in this series, especially. I think this is going to be a knockdown, drag out 6 games, and I think the Pacers still in 6.
Yeah, I mean, playoff basketball, I think especially, really in the NBA level.
It's the only time it's really fun to watch
NBA exactly,
games, right?
And the defense, I think, is better because there's something on the line. You're playing for your season.
What's the Pacers every night? The rest of the NBA only in the playoffs. That's my suggestion.
I just think that Indiana is more well-rounded, like we said earlier, on both sides of the basketball. I think the guy that also has to get going defensively and make plays, you got to get Pascal Siakam involved on the defensive end of things. And I think that's a real important key is if, can he take away Giannis? Can he take away, Lopez or some of the other guys that they have? I just think that Siakam's defense is going to also play a big factor too.
Don't overlook this either, because I won't. Is Rick Carlisle? Have there been times that we've criticized him? Yes. However,
someone here has called for his firing.
However, he is a coach who has taken a team and even won an NBA championship. So, and taken more than once to the NBA Finals. So when it comes to coaching, I would say that's an edge for the Pacers in this series.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't just call for his firing. I called for him to get thrown in the canal downtown.
That's right, you did.
I watched that Lakers game that they got beat on a buzzer beater and was just flabbergasted by whatever that is. This Pacers team, you know what? I'm just going to say, I'll be the first to say it on here. I think they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they're going to win this one, and I think they're going to go, and I think they're going to take Cleveland in 7. I do. I think that.
You think they're going to win the Eastern Conference
No,
Finals?
I think they're going.
Show your work.
Boston's going to win it all.
I need you to show your work on that.
I'll show my work last year. I thought they played excellent last year. I think that they've played Cleveland well this year.
I agree. I think they can be. I think they can be there. I think if they get to Cleveland, I think that will be one heck of probably a 7-game dogfight.
I'm tired of this Cleveland narrative that this is some super team. This isn't.
They're really freaking good.
This isn't.
Yeah, but I think the Pacers have beaten.
This is a good, great team. But I just can't stand here and listen to this fodder that this is some team full of Greek gods. They're not. They're human.
I just don't think last year with the Pacers playoff run and basically having every guy back, I mean, I just don't think last year is a fluke. But I don't think that matters.
It was a fluke.
I don't think it was a fluke at all. I think it can absolutely translate over into this year.
I mean, sorry, Mike, I'm skipping my turn just a little bit, but I just.
No, you're good. You're good.
I can't help but think that you don't think that the way that the Pacers drained Brunson and Josh Hart, and I mean, Devin Chinzo played great. You don't think that had anything to do with the fact that the Pacers just played that series so hard, and Tibbs runs his guys to death.
Maybe.
I'm not saying that, but if you just can't sit here and say that the Pacers didn't I don't want to say
saying all
cause the
things being
injuries.
even, they're not an Eastern Conference.
I mean, Jalen Brunson, that poor guy. I mean, I don't know how he wasn't peeing blood after the games. He just got bullied by the Pacers. That whole just physically, they are physically demanding, and they also have postseason experience, something that Cleveland doesn't really have. I'll say they're just not super experienced in the playoffs.
And I will
Donovan
say
Mitchell's been
this,
there a few times.
as long as the Pacers don't go overpaying for Miles Turner and let him find it really what I consider, because I still, although I know he's good and I think he's a great role model, I love having him being a citizen in the state, in Indianapolis and in Indiana, but I don't think he's the man to have in the middle that's going to get you an NBA championship.
You know what teams win NBA playoff series? The teams with the best player in the series. 90% of the time.
Yeah, thank you for what happened in the two series last year. Because
Well, last year, the best player in the series was Tyrese Halliburton.
Well, okay,
Giannis
no.
didn't play.
I won't say that because
Giannis didn't play.
If that's the case, then Golden State, and gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this because I'm not a huge LeBron fan, but the Lakers and some of the teams he's played on, otherwise they would be winning all those
The
series. all the
Warriors
time,
did
and they
win
don't.
all the series.
Not always. No, they didn't. They haven't. Did they win last year or a couple
team
years?
with
They
the
didn't
best
win a couple
player-
years ago, and Steph was the best player in the
The
series.
team with the best player wins the championship.
No,
About
not always.
75%
Well,
of the
then you know
time.
what? Here's what I'm going to say. We need to just not play the MLB season, not play the NFL season, not play the NHL season. We just don't need to play any sports.
It's different with the NBA.
If we just say you're the best player,
It's different with 5 players.
I can't sit here and
It's
let this
different with
go.
5 players on the floor than it is with 11.
Well,
or
but you
9.
know what? But we probably all disagree sometimes on who the best player is in the
That's
series.
what I'm trying to
And
sit
this
here and
one-
look at. Who's the best player?
No
in the
one could
league.
argue with who the best
So you're
player is
saying
in the
that-
series.
Yeah, who's the best player,
is
Greg?
it?
It's Giannis.
No,
It's not
he's
even
aging.
close.
He's not Giannis.
Yeah,
like
his
34 years
30
ago.
is 30.4
No,
points per
sorry,
game.
okay.
His
I'm
Okay.
gonna
ahead.
I'm gonna call just a quick timeout. Giannis the best player in the series.
okay, thank you.
But
We had lost our
but-
freaking
but not by a
Giannis
lot.
by a ton.
No,
It's-
no,
it's
He's
not
the
by a
most
ton.
feared player in the NBA.
No, he's not anymore.
No.
He's not.
No, he's
That
not.
is
I don't know about
ridiculous.
anybody else. I have been seeing people talking about that. Even people that cover the NBA and watch it, that Giannis is not the feared player that he was 4 years ago. He's
Yeah.
not. He doesn't bring the same level of fear.
Hey,
He
the
does not.
30.4 points per game.
But that's not the bet. What makes you the bet? I get tired of everybody
He
going
shot
concentrating on points.
65% against the
And
Pacers
how-
this year.
Well, okay, maybe.
Um,
but
one
how
game.
many points does he give
That's
up?
not one
How many
game.
points does he
Four
give up?
games.
How many points does his guy score?
That's only
Not
4
very
games.
many. He's one of the best defensive players in the NBA.
We'll
He
see.
shot 60.1% from the field this year.
We'll see.
12 rebounds per game, 6.5 assists per game. By the way, last 10 games, he's averaging 31.5 points, 11.3 rebounds, and 10.4 assists.
Not denying
Right,
that he's
because he's
that
got to
he's
be
not a good player.
Because he's got to be about his whole team, then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. There are guys on the Pacers. See, I can never say his name, but Siakam.
You know they have the same record, right?
Yeah, I know, but
The
Siakam.
Pacers were not better than
But
them.
here's the thing.
Pacers were 2 games better.
Well,
No,
whatever.
what I'm
the
saying-
same record-ish.
Well,
It's
here's
not
what I'm
like
saying.
one team was
But here's the thing. But
significantly
he
better
has
than
to
the other
be
this
the
year.
guy.
And the Bucks did
He-
beat the Pacers 2 out
Right,
of
but
3
he
this
has
year.
to be the guy, so his numbers are going to be up. It's not like
I hope I'm wrong.
It's not like he's on a team like the Pacers with Siakam and Halliburton and guys that have guys that he has Dane, but I don't think they've ever really met. I don't think that's probably Milwaukee's problem. They haven't really meshed.
Mike.
I think the Pacers are just well balanced. They don't need somebody to score 30 points a game.
Nope, I understand.
Milwaukee needs Giannis to score 30 points a game
But
to
when
win.
the game's on the line, everybody knows where the ball's going to go, and the Pacers have nobody to stop it.
Well,
That's not even.
That's not true. You could
That's
throw
not
5
even-
at him.
We
You're
just talked
talking
about. We just talked about 3 or 4
Nobody
guys
to
that
stop
could
him.
stop.
Nobody
I
can
love what
stop
you're
him.
saying. I love what you're saying because you're not necessarily speaking out your ass. You are a little bit because if it's a 3-point game, then Giannis isn't worth anything. You could throw me out there. I'm a better.
good point.
I got a better chance hitting a 3-point shot than Giannis does at the NBA level.
That's a good point.
I mean, that's just you're going to foul him. You're the Pacers, oh my God, if Rick Carlisle does not foul
You'll
with
be-
the Pacers up 3 with less than 20
You want him
seconds to left,
catapulted into the Great Lakes.
I will have an aneurysm in my living room. Dave Retherford will have to call somebody to come pick me up because I will just croak right there.
Okay, everybody, coming up later Friday, the 5 of us are going to make our NBA first round playoff predictions, and we're going to do that right now. Thanks, everybody. Sorry about all the yelling over each other. It's just kind of what happens when you get 5 passionate sports fans in the same place. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like to see us continue to grow and thrive, please share these segments with your friends and family. We humbly thank you in advance. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.